Hare Krishna, dear devotees, please accept my holy obeisances. All glories to the Prabhupada. Welcome to this morning's Zoom Srimad Bhagavatam class, which is from Canto 1, Chapter 18, Text 46. Without further ado, I'll start the class right now. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Janavallabha Girivadadhari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivadadhari Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana Jamunatira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivadadhari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivadadhari Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari 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 Jai Om Vishnupad Paramhamsa Privajikacharya Astottara Satasishimada Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Shri Prabhupada Ki Jai Jai Om Vishnupad Paramhamsa Privajikacharya Astottara Satasishimada Divine Grace Shri Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnavini Ki Jai Namacharya Shiva Haridas Thakur Ki Jai ISKCON founder Charge Shri Prabhupada Ki Jai. Prem se kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shiva Shri Gaur Bhaktavinda Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shama Kund Radha Kund Giri Govardhan Ki Jai. Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Mathura Dham Ki Jai. Navadvip Dham Ki Jai. Jagannathpuri Dham Ki Jai. Ganga Mai Ki Jai. Jamuna Mai Ki Jai. Tulsi Devi Ki Jai. Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Hare Krishna Mahamantra Ki Jai. Samaveda Bhaktavinda Ki Jai. Nitai Gaura Brahmanande Hari Hari Bo. All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glory to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glory to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to the lotus feet of Sri Sri Guru and Gauranga. Srila Prabhupada. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Tirtha Swami Namini Namaste Krishna Padaya Prabhupada Siddhartha Shri Gaura Karuna Shakti Bhakti Tirtha Namini Narayanan Namaskritya Naroncheva Narotamam Devim Saraswati Vyasant Tujayam Gatirayat Nashta Prayesva Bhadresu Nityam Bhagavata Sivaya Bhavatu Tamasloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. So, Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 18, Text 46. I will chant the text 3 times. And after that, anyone who feels so inclined can chant also. Dharma palo narapati satu samrad prihat shrava shakshan mahabhagavato rajashil hayame jayat shukret shrama yuto dino nevasmat chapam ahati Dharma palo narapati Satu Samrat Brihatshrava Sakshan Mahabhagavato Rajasi Hayamedayat Shutrit Shrama Dino Nedvaispak Chapam Arhati Dhamma Narapati Satu Samrat Prihat Shrava Shakshan Mahabhagavato Rajasi Hayamedhayat Shutret Shrama Dino Nevaspat Chapam Arhati. Hare Krishna.
धर्मपालो नरपतिः सातु सम्राट् भ्रजश्रवः साक्षान् महाभागवतो राजर्षिर्हयमेधयात् क्षुत्रित् श्रमयुतो दीनो नैवाश्माच् चापम् अर्हति. हरे
Hare Krishna. Anyone else like to try? Okay. So, word for word. Dharmapala, the protector of religion. Narapati, the king. Sa, he. To, but. Samrat, emperor. Brihad, highly. Shrava, celebrated. Shakshat, directly. Mahabhagavata, the first class devotee of the Lord. Rajarishi, saint amongst the royal order. Hayamid Hayat, great performer of horse sacrifices. Shut, hunger. Trit, thirst. Shramayuta, tired and fatigued. Dina, stricken. Na, never. Eva, thus. Asmat, by us. Shapam, curse. Arhati, deserves. Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada Ki Jai. The Emperor Pariksit is a pious king, and he's highly celebrated, and is a first-class devotee of the personality of Godhead. He is a saint amongst royalty, and he has performed many horse sacrifices. When such a king is tired and fatigued, being stricken with hunger and thirst, he does not at all deserve to be cursed. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. After explaining the general codes relating to the royal position and asserting that the king can do no wrong and therefore is never to be condemned, the sage Shamika wanted to say something about Emperor Pariksit specifically. The specific qualification of Maharaj Pariksit is summarized herein. The king, even calculated as a king only, was most celebrated as a ruler who administered the religious principles of the royal order. In the Shastras, the duties of all castes and orders of society are prescribed. All the qualities of a Kshatriya mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 18, text 43, were present in the person of the emperor. He was also a great devotee of the Lord and a self-realized soul. Cursing such a king when he was tired and fatigued with hunger and thirst was not at all proper. Shamakra Rishi thus admitted from all sides that Maharaj Pariksit was cursed most unjustly. Although all the Brahmanas were aloof from the incident, still, for the childish action of a Brahmana boy, the whole world situation was changed. Thus, Rishi Shamaka, a Brahmana, took responsibility for all the deterioration of the good orders of the world. Oma Ginati Virandasya, Gyana Gyana Shalakaya, Chakshu Amritam Jena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manovistam Stapitam Yena Bhuktale Swayam Rupa Kadama Yam Dadati Swapadantika. Vande Ham Shri Guru Shri Tapada Kamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavam Shah. Sri Rupa Sagajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Tavadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Pada Sahagana Lita Sri Vishakam Vitam Sicha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagat Pate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Tapta Kanchana Gourangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamani Hari Priya Vanchakalpatarubhescha kripa sindhve eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaur Bhakta Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swamini Namane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gaura Bhanu Pracharini Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paschatya Desitarani Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prem Padayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Guracheshe Namaha Ananda Lilamaya Vigrahaya Himabhyadi Pichapisundaraya Tasmi Mahaprem Raspadaya Titani Chandaya Namo Namaste, Titani Chandaya Namo Namaste, Titani Chandaya Namo Namaste, Titani Chandaya Namo Namaste. Hare Krishna. Good morning again to all the devotees. If there's some on the line now that I haven't wished a Happy New Year, a wonderful, wonderful Krishna conscious Happy New Year to you. We are already one day short of 2024. So we have 365 days left. It's actually a leap year this year, so it's not 364, it's 365. But the years go very quickly, which means if we take Krishna consciousness seriously, then the years are pushing us on to see Krishna very soon. This is what's going on. In the meantime, I heard one lecture or one point that when we hear Srimad Bhagavatam, every time you hear one verse Srimad Bhagavatam, you get a little purer. Your purity level goes up. We don't hear it just like a story. We hear it to incorporate what we get from it in our lives. And that's why we also share, those of us that preach, what we hear. So Srimad Bhagavatam is very, 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 very important. Nasta Prayasva Bhadresu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. Always listen to Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. I'd like to congratulate those who've been very consistent coming on every time to hear Srimad Bhagavatam. You're doing yourself a lot of good, and you can also share the information that you get. Live by it and also share it. So, in this case here, we are at the point where good advice and explanation are both being given by Shamakarishi to his Brahman boy son, Shringi, who has caused a problem, and a worldwide problem at that, putting the Emperor Pariksit, emperor means the one that is over all the kings of the different parts of the world, and therefore ruling the whole world. An extremely well-trained king who spiritually is a pure devotee of the Lord and materially is the best king you can have, with all the qualities that's been explained to him, living by that. And now he's in a situation where Shamakarishi is explaining he was hungry, he was tired, he was, thirsty, especially. When you're hungry is one thing. When you're thirsty, you want water as quickly as possible. And so he didn't get water. And for a little bit of offense to him, Shamakarishi himself, now he's been cursed. So then Shingi is being told the king does not at all deserve to be cursed in this kind of situation. Hmm? So Srila Prabhupada explains that he goes to the whole point of the fact here is general situations about the king is being described. And now Shamaka wanted to say something about Emperor Pariksit. In other words, you don't curse kings in general. You just don't. Hmm? Their activities are important. A Brahmin is not supposed to curse the king. A Brahmin is supposed to advise the king on the things to do spiritually to make sure that his rule is going on nicely and that the citizens are benefiting from the kind of king that he is. Everyone goes to someone for some advice. And if you're not doing that, you should be, because that's not me saying it. That is from the nectar of instruction. Mm. The 6 exchanges of love, part of it is to reveal one's mind in confidence and also get confidential advice, Krishna conscious confidential advice from the person that you're speaking with. So we all have to have someone we trust and go to ask certain things, especially when a guru comes to visit, the things that are bothering your mind, you can definitely talk to the guru about it. Sometimes you can ask even for a one-on-one private audience with the guru. He may give you 5 minutes, and believe me, that's a long time. The guru will tell you things what to do. Mm. So Emperor Pariksit is a pious king. Shamaka is explained. The piety is there. So you curse somebody that's pious. That is not good at all. Mm. And then he's highly celebrated. He's the emperor of the whole world. And he's a first class devotee of a personality of Godhead. Mm. Pure devotee of the Lord. And among royalty, he's a Rajarishi. He's a saint. And he has performed many horse sacrifices. Horse sacrifices are performed with the aim of all the other kings accepting that person that's performing the horse sacrifice as the one that is going to be the king of the kings, king among kings. He didn't perform one, he performed many horse sacrifices. Mm-hmm. The detail of horse sacrifices says there is a horse that travels with an army for that particular king that's doing the horse sacrifice. They go from territory to territory where there are other kings for those territories. And when the king indicates that there is no reason to fight that particular person that's doing the horse sacrifice, and that they agree to be a subordinate to that particular king, then the horse moves on along with that king's army to the next territory. If there is a king who does not want to accept the superiority of that particular king that's doing the horse sacrifice, then there's a war between the king's soldiers, the one that's defying the authority of the other king, and then whoever wins, then they become basically they will not be they'll be the topmost person, and the other one will be subordinate. So in the case of Maharaj Pariksit, the kings have accepted through the horse sacrifices that he is to be the emperor. And you, Shingi, you're supposed to be a Brahmin advising, not cursing. And this person is a very, 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 very great saint, the pure devotee of our Lord. So many good things are happening to the planet because of him. And now you have him go. Like that. So we obviously have to be careful. There's so much to learn. We have to be forgiving, and we have to be tolerant, and we have to be patient. And in all these three qualities, we can, in fact, make wise decisions, mature decisions in situations that we face. So Srila Prabhupada also describes that the caste and orders of societies are described in Bhagavad Gita. In Bhagavad Gita, chapter 18, text 42, that describes the qualities of Brahmanas. And then Bhagavad Gita, chapter 18, text 43, describes the qualities of a Kshatriya. So Maharaj Pariksit was in a unique position because as Raja Rishi, he had those qualities of Brahman to the extent that he wanted to use that. And then he had qualities of a Kshatriya also. Now, Kshatriya in chapter 18, text 43, Shoryam Dejo Titi Daksham Yude Chapi Apalayanam Danam Ishwara Babascha Shatram Karma Swabhabajam. The translation is, and these are qualities of the Kshatriyas, the administrators, the kings. Heroism, power, determination, resourcefulness, courage in battle, generosity, and leadership. These are the qualities. Heroism. Maharaj Pariksit was definitely a hero, coming from the line of the Pandavas. Power. He was, in fact, the controller, but representing Krishna. The great thing about Rajarishis is that, Rajarishis, saintly kings, is that, yes, power is given to them, but they also understand that they are always in a subordinate position to the Lord. They are servant of a servant of a servant, just like the Buddhists are being taught by Srila Prabhupada. We are all being taught to be servant of our Guru, who is servant of his Guru, who is servant of his Guru. We also to be servant of the Buddhists. Determination. Maharaj Pariksit made sure that things were working properly according to law. And things were going well in his kingdom because he was determined that anyone that tries to do something negative, he would be facing the king, and it will not be a nice memory for that particular person. Punishment, the king does in fact exact punishment when it's necessary. Courage in battle and resourcefulness. Because the king was such a good king, the citizens were not feeling that they were short of anything. Even materially, they were not. Everything that they needed was made available. Of course, in the material world, you have to work, not like the spiritual world. Material world, you have to work, but what work can you do if the resources are not there? How can you live when the resources are not there? So for him, because he was such a pious and a just king, the demigods in that situation are also very happy with such administration, and they also supply the needs so that everybody that is under that particular king is happy, and the king is also satisfied with the way things are going. The king was very generous. Even when the personality of Kali, who should have been punished for what he was doing, beating the legs of Dharma, the bull, and also the earth in the form of a cow, he definitely deserved punishment. But when he asked for mercy, the king was generous enough to now talk to him, as long as he had said that he would not continue doing what he was doing. So he was kind, he was courageous, but he was also kind at the same time. Maharaj Pariksit was one of a kind. Just like all of these kings were one of a kind. Rajarishis, they were one of a kind. Still, we are in a situation where you, Shringi, are going to deprive the earth of such a wonderful king. So the kings do a wonderful job if they are trained properly. But in a situation where we have what's called democracy, where the people are just going to hear whatever they hear, whether right or wrong, or true or false, and based on that, put somebody there as a leader who has actually not been trained, who does not even know the Varnas as Brahmanas, Kshatriya, Vaishyas and Shudras, that actually this is the way the Varnas work, and that the ashrams are there spiritually too, and where they have to go to get advice. Sometimes even atheists, they wind up becoming king. What's going to happen then to the people? So we have to be definitely feeling very grateful that Srila Prabhupada has come to teach us a way to go on in this Kali Yuga. The Lord has come in his holy name, and his pure devotee, Srila Prabhupada, has given us his holy name. So what to do? We definitely have to chant and keep chanting and keep chanting and keep chanting all of the time so that we can remember the Lord, as he says, Man mana. Remember me. Man mana bhava mad bhakto. Remember me and become my devotee. So that's charged on us. We don't have a type of quality of Maharaj Pariksit now, but we have the holy name, and that can change so many things. Protection comes from the holy name of the Lord. Krishna is absolute, so his holy name is himself. Don't think that we have Krishna's holy name and we're chanting holy name. We have Krishna when we're chanting the holy name. We have Krishna, not just Krishna's holy name. Krishna is himself, his holy name, his paraphernalia, his pastimes, they're all Krishna. We can't be like that, but he is like that because we're not at this level. So we're fortunate to have the holy name. And once we chant it, then even though a king like Maharaj Pariksit is not there, but still, we have such a wonderful opportunity to serve the Lord, to serve the devotees. And so we just go on like that. And then we'll be happy because in the end, Krishna will come and take us back to the spiritual world. There are so many things that happen. And it's through the mercy of the Lord that these things happen, as long as we are the type of devotees that depend on the protection of the Lord. We talked about the fact that the qualities of a Kshatriyas are in 1843. So now let's look at 1842. Samo dhamma tapaso cham shankir ajavam evacha. Jnanam vigyanam ashtikam. Brahma karma swabhavajam. Peacefulness, self-control, austerity, purity, tolerance, honesty, knowledge, wisdom, and religiousness. These are the natural qualities for the Brahmanas. So as Maharaj Pariksit, he was courageous. And because of that, his kingdom was peaceful. And when his kingdom was peaceful, he himself was also peaceful, even though he's on guard all the time. He was definitely in control of his senses. As to the situation that happened with him and Shamakarishi, that was under the will of the Lord because the Lord's plan was that Kali Yuga had come and he wanted Maharaj Pariksit to return to the spiritual world. So this was set up through Yogamaya for it to happen. Maharaj Pariksit to be austere, he was definitely willing. He was in fact the pure devotee, so purity is there. As long as the law was obeyed, then things were tolerated. As long as a person was putting out, just like Kali did, that I am actually truly sorry. You also have to protect me and give me a situation in order to go on living. Then Maharaj Pariksit can arrange some things for him, as he did for the personality of Kali. Honesty. He was absolutely honest, and he was knowledgeable because he had been trained. He was extremely wise. So he had qualities of both Brahmanas and Kshatriya. That combination for Rajarishi is wonderful for the citizens, and they gain tremendously because of that. Not to mention the fact that the demigods also make life a little more manageable by supplying all the necessities of nature. So we also can learn from this some of the qualities that apply to us. Mm. We also should be involved in it on top of hearing and chanting the holy name. Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. And dear devotees, our happiness comes from discussions about the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Machita Magita Prana Bodhayanta Parasparam Katayantas Chamam Nityam Vishanticha Romanticha. Bhagavad Gita chapter 10, text 9. Krishna himself is saying, the thoughts of my pure devotees dwell in me. And Maharaj Pariksit was a wonderful example of that. We'll get to that if you might Bhagavatam. The thoughts of my pure devotees dwell in me, and their lives are fully devoted to my service. So pure devotees think about the Lord all of the time, and they make sure that whatever they do is directly or indirectly related to service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is what we should be about. And when they do that, then they get great satisfaction and the highest happiness, internal happiness, happiness from the heart, because they are always talking about Krishna and enlightening each other. In other words, some things that some people may not know, just from the discussion, one person gets to know about it. Mm-hmm. And conversing about Krishna. And speaking about that this morning, about maybe an hour and a half or so ago, I was listening to a lecture by His Holiness Chandamali Swami, and he gave an example that I cannot but share with you guys. It's such a wonderful example. So he said he heard it from Niranjana Swami, if I'm correct about who said that. Yeah, Niranjana Swami. The war, which is still going on between Russia and Ukraine, it so happened that there was some of the soldiers that were fighting with devotees. A few soldiers were devotees. And that's definitely a fact. And there was a bomb thrown at this group of soldiers, where the devotee was one of them. And the bomb, the way it does is that when it hits, there's a detonator that activates. And when the detonator activates, then the bomb explodes. Then people in the immediate area, of course, will lose their lives and things get destroyed. This bomb happened to land on the shoe of the soldier who was a devotee. And when the bomb landed on the shoe, the detonator failed to activate. The detonator failed to activate. So the bomb was ready to go off, but the detonator is like the match is ready to go, but you have to strike for it to become, or the flame come out. So the detonator did not go off. So the bomb just simply fell and didn't explode. And of course, devotee being a devotee, that situation, first of all, was very surprising to all the soldiers. But they're finding out that he was a devotee, so they understood that Krishna protected him and these who were around him, he protected them also. And Maharaj described that some of them became devotees from that incident. If the Lord can protect like that, we better do what this guy is doing, because this is something else. So the Lord can protect. He protects his devotees. And therefore, the devotees are always thinking about the Lord and conversing about the Lord. Maharaj Pariksit was no different. He heard so many points, so many activities about the Pandavas, who were the grand uncles and grandfather of Maharaj Pariksit. So in Bhagavatam, Canto 1, chapter 16, text 16, it describes Maharaj Pariksit heard about Krishna. He heard that out of Krishna's causeless mercy, Lord Krishna, who is actually the King of Kings, who is universally obeyed, he rendered all kinds of service to the sons of Pandavas by accepting posts, menial posts like being a chariot driver. He was president when there was supposed to be a Rajasuya sacrifice. Bhishma appointed him as president of that particular activity, the whole sacrifice. He was a messenger. He delivered message to the Drashtra, mm, asking that they accept a situation where the Pandavas will get only 5 villages and the rest of the planet can be given to the Drashtra and Duryodhana. He sent this. He was a friend to them. He was a friend to Arjun in many, many, many situations. He did so many other menial activities according to the will of the Pandavas. Hmm? So he was obeying them like a servant. He was offering obeisances even to the ones that were hmm, like a one that's younger in years to them. So he was embracing Nakul and Sahadev. He was embracing Arjun. But since Yudhishthira was, in terms of age, born when he was born, then he would, and including Mother Kunti and all that, he would offer obeisances to them. He would offer obeisances to Bhishma. But he's the supreme personality of Godhead. Now, Maharaj Pariksit was hearing all of this. Remember, there's 2 generations down from the Pandavas. It was Maharaj Pariksit. Maharaj Pariksit father is Abhimanyu, and Abhimanyu's father is Arjun. So he's a grandson. So when he was on and he was appointed, of course, he didn't know many things that had happened. But when the Pandavas left, then he heard all of this. And he was overwhelmed, literally, with devotion to the lotus feet of the Lord. This is what, when we hear pastimes from devotees, this is what happens. When in this Rajashriya sacrifice at Indraprasth, before Bhishma appointed Krishna as the president to preside over it, when people were coming, when guests were coming, an assignment given by Maharaj Yudhishthira to different, those that were there to do different activities to make the sacrifice go well. Krishna himself volunteered to wash the feet of all the people that were coming into the palace. Did a very, very, very menial type job. And by the way, that is Krishna's exhibition of the opulence of renunciation. We say Krishna has 6 qualities. One of them is renunciation. There's fame, there's knowledge, there's beauty, this is there, and then there's renunciation. It is explained that when Krishna does menial service, that is the time that he's exhibiting his quality of renunciation. But he's the king of kings. He owns everything, as we well know. So the Lord is very, very, very protective. So he is even in the form of Paramatma. Upadishtya Onamanta. He is the overseer and is also the permitter. And he is, even in the Super Soul, helping us and also giving us good advice if we would listen. Of course, he doesn't force us, but when we turn our attention to him, and we always pray for his protection, then he is there. And the pure devotees show such wonderful example of being surrendered to the Lord and the Lord protecting them. For example, the case of Draupadi, when he was forced, he was taken a dice game and Yudhishthira lost, and these demons, Dushasan and Duryodhan and Karna, took advantage of forcing Draupadi to come to the court of Dhritarashtra with Kripacharya, with Dronacharya, with Bhishma, all of them there. And they called her a prostitute, and then Dushasan was ordered to strip the sari from her body. In other words, they were going to make her naked. But when she raised, first she tried to resist, but she's no match strength-wise against Dushasan. But when she threw her arms and legs in the air and said, "Hey Krishna, hey Govinda," what happened? Krishna appeared and in the form of endless yards and yards and yards and yards and yards, endless sari. Dushasan forced and forced and forced and moved and moved and moved and moved the sari round and round and round and round. They had almost a big, big pile of cloth, and Draupadi never became naked. Mm? It got to the point where Dushasan just simply wore out and gave up. Mm? Protection of Krishna. When they were asked to go to a vacation, but they had built a wonderful building. Purochan was asked to build this wonderful building, but it didn't take long that Krishna, through Vidura, informed the Pandavas that they have to be careful where they're going. Duryodhana is all of a sudden acting very nice. Oh, go, you, all of you, 5 brothers and your mother, you can go for vacation. The house was made of very flammable material. And Krishna arranged through his devotee Vidura to inform them and even find out that they were going to be burned, and the date that they were going to be burned was all known by the Pandavas. So the Pandavas were able to get out because Vidura, this time, acted by having a miner come to dig a hole so that it was leading from where the miner started up to the bottom of the palace and into one of the rooms. And at the time that the house was supposed to be set on fire, what happened was that it was actually the Pandavas that set fire to the house the day before and got through that particular hole dug by the miner to get out of trouble. Even Bhima, earlier on when they were little, he was poisoned by the arrangement of Shakuni, who was Duryodhana's uncle. But even though Bhima died and he was thrown in the river, he was actually brought back to life. This is all arrangement of Krishna. Pandavas were going to be killed by Bhishma because Duryodhana complained that Bhishma was not really doing anything actively with the Pandavas. There were 5 arrows he was going to use the very next day to kill the Pandavas in that war at Kurukshetra. The Pandavas knew nothing of it, but Krishna knew because Krishna is everyone's heart. And Krishna arranged for Arjuna to go to Duryodhana, and Duryodhana had promised him when the Gandharvas captured him when they were in the forest that he would return the favor because Arjuna was able to get him released by the Gandharvas. So then, Duryodhana owed, as they say in America, he owed him one. Duryodhana owed Arjuna a favor. So Krishna said that you go to Duryodhana and ask for your favor to be fulfilled. So he did. And Duryodhana said, yes, I have a favor. What do you want? He said, I want the 5 arrows because Duryodhana was the one that was keeping the 5 arrows. And the next day, Bhishma was going to use the 5 arrows to kill the Pandavas. So Krishna took the Pandavas out of this danger because Duryodhana had to make good his promise of whatever one request that Arjuna made. So they were protected again. And in the last duel in the Kurukshetra war between Duryodhana and Bhishma, Bhishma could have been defeated. Duryodhana and Bhima could have been defeated by Duryodhana because Duryodhana's mother had made Duryodhana's body very, very resilient, like iron. But Krishna knew this was going to happen. Gandhari, Duryodhana's mother, had asked that Duryodhana go bathe in the river and then come to see her without any clothes on. And Duryodhana was going to obey that, so he did the bathing in the river, but as he was on his way to go to see his mother, Krishna knew what was supposed to happen, and therefore Krishna happened to be in the way because he arranged by his own supreme will to be in the way. And so Duryodhana said, Duryodhana, why are you walking with no clothes on? And from the direction you walk, you're going to your mother's, where she is, and you're not wearing any clothes. And so Krishna was able to change Duryodhana's mind to put a few coverings, leaves in that area of his private area down to the top part of his thigh before he went to see his mother. And when he was made, the body was made very strong by his mother's devotion and how she did it subtly. That part that was covered by the leaves, the large leaves, did not have that same potency. That was still a part that remained weak. And that was the area that at the end of the Kurukshetra war, when Bhima was fighting Duryodhana, that Krishna led Bhima to hit that place, even though it was against the rules of fighting. But of course, this is a demon. So Duryodhana is a demon. So when it comes to demons, Krishna just, they'll do what they have to do because demons have to be eliminated. He had him hit Duryodhana at that thigh area, the area that was weak, and Duryodhana bled to death. So Krishna was, in any situation, Krishna will protect. As long as you think of Krishna, you chant in the Kali Yuga, you chant his holy name. And so we are still protected, even though Maharaj, the Raja Rishis are not here now, but Krishna is here in his holy name. And if we think about him all of the time, then we will be safe. So the conclusion is we always should hanker to hear about Krishna's activities. They are wonderful activities. And we should always accept Krishna as our only protector. We also should understand that all happiness will be derived from Krishna consciousness, not material happiness. They are fleeting, they're temporary, and sometimes they end in situations that we don't even like, material so-called happiness. But happiness from Krishna and Krishna consciousness is permanent. And it adds to our spiritual credits, and we'll be able to go back to Godhead for even more happiness. So we should also understand that all the stress that we go through should be a way in which we channel it for service to the Lord. So all the stress should be a way that we should have a way to channel it, pray for a way to channel the stress so that it becomes service to the Lord. Because the pure devotees are like that. They go through the stress, but somehow they're serving the Lord. That way, there's no need to get an anxiety, even when there's distress. Krishna is in control. Please guide me in this situation that I can use it to serve you and your devotees. That should be our prayer. So that way, we'll always be safe. So Shringi had to be given some advice, and also, the beginning of Kali Yuga was from this problem that Shringi caused. So we have to be careful not to contribute to the downward trend of Kali Yuga, but do everything that Srila Prabhupada asked us to do. So Krishna will be happy with us, Guru will be happy with us, and then we can go back to Godhead at the end of this body. Everybody should be chanting. There's no excuse. Don't give yourself any excuse for chanting. Those who are protected, of course, those who are initiated, they have the number of rounds they have to chant, but everybody should do it. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you, devotees, for allowing me to do service. And now you can unmute yourself. You want to make comments, ask questions, or have some takeaways that you want to share with the devotees. Please do so. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Hare Krishna, please accept my humble obeisances, always with your
Accept
Prabhupada.
mine. Bless you,
Thank you for this
Prabhupada.
wonderful class. I wanted to, the last two sentence in the purport really caught my attention, where Sri
Mm,
Prabhupada says, although all the Brahmanas were aloof from the incident, still for the childish action of the Brahmana boy, the whole world situation was changed. So to me, that was a very powerful statement that because of one immature kid, it changed the whole situation. But at the same time, we also know that the Lord is in complete control of his pastimes.
mm.
So, as practicing devotees, how can we learn the lesson from a mistake or an immature childish action can lead to so many changes? Like, how can we learn a lesson from that?
We can learn a lesson from what happened in the situation of Shingi by remembering one thing. In this universe, everything is connected to everything else. Everything is connected to everything else. This is a statement that my Guru Maharaj, Bhakti Maharaj, made us aware of way back in 1993 in his lectures. So whatever we do, even though we may not see immediately the effect that it's having, it does have an effect on something else. We know that if we, even though it's not the greatest example for that you might want to hear, but it's a fact that even when we're sick, we go to the hospital. Now, this is the hospital people wanting to help us to get better. But because what we've been given medicine is not natural, and it's out of its natural environment and it's been isolated and given to us, the natural environment of that medicine as an herb has other types of components that ensure the protection of the body. Everything is done brilliantly like that by the Lord. So if we isolate, then we have a drug that's given, but it's one that's isolated from its natural environment. What happens? It may work, but there's side effects from it. So everything is, side effects and side effects that are negative. So everything is connected to everything else. So when one side goes wrong, then everything else can be affected because it affects the immediate person, and then the immediate person affects the immediate next, and so on, next, and so on, next, and so on, because nature is set up that way. So this is a very, very open, plain example. The Brahmanas were aloof from the incident. In other words, Brahmanas themselves, outside of Shringi and Shamakrishi, they didn't know, well, even if they had the power to know what was going on, they certainly were not partakers of the situation. But we all can be affected. If there is a pujari that's supposed to come for a certain time to do service and they don't do the service, if there's a devotee that's supposed to bring some prasadam or even boga for offering, they don't come on time. If there's somebody that's supposed to bring flowers for the deities or flowers for Srila Prabhupada in the temple and they don't come, we all get affected by it because what is supposed to happen does not happen. If somebody comes in late, the whole program is pulled back late and the entire temple is affected. So this is the reality. This is the reality. So we have to be careful. Just like Chamakrishi had to give so much advice to his son, you have caused a problem for all of us now. But this also happens. Let's give an example the other day. When a teacher makes a mistake on the board and writes something that's not true and the students don't know, they copy it as notes. And now the notes for all the students are bad for one person writing something that's wrong. So everything is connected to everything else, whether we see it or not. So this is not an isolated incident of the Brahmanas all being affected because of Shingi, but actually that is the way things are connected in the world. Hare Krishna. Thanks for the question. It's a good question. Anybody else wants to ask a question or just talk about some things that they want to talk about, takeaways or realizations? You can do so now by unmuting yourself.
There's another question, if I could ask quickly, and it's the last
Sure.
sentence is where Prabhupada says, thus Rishi Shamaka, a Brahmana, took responsibility for all the deterioration of the good of the orders of the world. So which means that what wrong his son did, he had to pay the price, lack of better, but because of his son's wrong decision. So what's coming to my mind is when we make a wrong decision that's affecting everyone else, then we bear the responsibility. So how can we become responsible for our actions?
We just have to be aware that every time that we're doing things, first of all, the easier way to do it is every morning pray that our activities would be according to what the Lord is sanctioning that we do. If we pray that our activities are, oh Lord, dear Lord, please guide me in everything that I do today. A simple prayer like that. Guide me in everything that I do today. And you go by what is written in the Shastras, what the devotees have advised us to do, what spiritual master has advised us to do, then the chances of us doing wrong get very, very, very much minimized. And even if we do something that seems to be off, but because we've said that let our lives now, today, be controlled by Krishna, even what seems to be mistakes will be turned in such a way that there will be benefit in the end. Not because we did it, but because Krishna is powerful enough to turn all even bad things to good. There's always a lesson behind it. Even the same situation with Shringi, the end was good because when Maharaj Pariksit accepted the curse to die in 7 days, and he left the kingdom to Maharaj Janmejai, the sons, and he went to the bank of the Ganges. Shukadev Goswami met him there, and what happened? The cream of the crop of the Vedas, Srimad Bhagavatam, was spoken to him. And many, many sages, some people from other planets, demigods, they all came to listen. And this was recorded, and now we get a chance to listen, along with Srila Prabhupada's purports too. This is from the mistake of Shringi. But the benefit came because Sham Krishi was very, very much a very, very fixed up devotee of the Lord. So the Lord used him, and now we got Srimad Bhagavatam. So even when things, as long as we pray for help, and that everything that we do be guided by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and we do that every day. It reminds me of, believe it or not, one Christian hymn. It's about sins. And I still remember the words. He says, Lord, for tomorrow and its needs, I do not pray. That's the first two lines. For tomorrow and his needs, I do not pray. Keep me, by God, from the stain of sin just for today. So let me both diligently work and duly pray. Let me be kind in word and deed just for today. The title of the hymn is called Just for Today. I remember singing it in high school. But the words are quite powerful. This is a prayer that we should give all words, actions, everything to the Lord and have him control it. Because we have free will, so we can do whatever we want. But if we turn our free will back to the Lord, like the Pandavas did, they were very malleable. Sri Papa describes them malleable. Whatever the Lord wanted them to do, they would do it. Whether physically it was troublesome to them, it didn't matter. They would do it. When we get that kind of attitude, then we are home free. It's only a matter of time Krishna will take us back in the spiritual world. Thank you for the question also. Very good question. Hare Krishna. Any other questions or takeaways? If not, thank you very much. 2024 should be a very, very, very interesting Krishna conscious year. Interesting in many ways. Wonderful things will happen. Challenges may come, but we should see the connection to Krishna as long as we think about Krishna all the time. Vancha kalpatarubhischa kripa sundibhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Have a wonderful day.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare.